Have you ever felt like time was lying to you? Like the calendar kept moving forward, but something inside you had stopped, watching, waiting, sensing that the real moment hadn't come yet? There's a day that doesn't fit inside the normal flow of time. It doesn't belong to any week or month, and it doesn't follow the ticking of the clock. It exists outside the structure, outside the rush, outside the noise. The ancient ones called it the day out of time. And even though the date has already passed, July 25th, that doesn't mean the moment is gone. Because what this day opens is not tied to a number. It's tied to awareness. And awareness is never too late. Most people don't notice it. They go to work, sit in traffic, scroll through their phones, handle bills and deadlines. The day slips by like any other. But for those who feel, those who sense, those who listen, a different truth rises in the silence. A subtle field opens. Something sacred shifts in the air. And if you're reading this now, it means that shift is still alive for you. The doorway hasn't closed. You're being invited in. Time isn't what we've been told. It's not just hours and minutes, not just past and future, not just schedules and deadlines. Time is a frequency, a vibration, a pulse. And while clocks tick and calendars flip, the soul waits for something deeper, something real, something honest. That's what the day out of time is. A pause so sacred that the universe itself seems to hold its breath. In that breath, a question rises. Who are you when the world stops spinning? The Mayans knew this. They followed a calendar of 13 moons, each with exactly 28 days. That made 364 days. But the 365th day didn't belong to the cycle. It stood outside of it. It was untouched by routine. It was sacred, a moment for cleansing, reflection, stillness. On that day, nothing was done. People rested, reconnected, remembered. It was not a break from time. It was time in its purest form. And even before the Mayans, Thoth, the ancient teacher of Atlantis and Egypt, spoke of time in a way that most have forgotten. He said time isn't linear. It's not a straight line you walk. It's a spiral you feel. The past and future are illusions of the mind. True time exists outside that line. It pulses through the soul. And when you learn to feel that pulse, you don't need to wait for the calendar to give you permission. You can transform at any moment. You can awaken at any breath. That's what this is. That's what you're sensing now. Even if the world tells you it's too late, your spirit knows it isn't. Because the energy that opened on July 25th doesn't vanish. It ripples, like dropping a stone into still water. The vibration continues long after the splash. And that ripple is still touching you, still calling you, still offering you a chance to begin again. Have you felt it lately? The sudden urge to let go of what no longer fits? The unexpected emotion rising out of nowhere? The need to rest, to slow down, to question everything? Have your dreams felt deeper, your thoughts more symbolic, your body more sensitive? That's not random. That's not weakness. That's the energy of the day out of time still moving through your field. Even if you didn't know it, your body did. Your soul did. And now, your mind is catching up. The time you were taught to follow, the one with clocks and meetings and alarm bells, is not the only time. It's not even the truest time. It's a system created long ago to organize people, not to honor souls. The Gregorian calendar, with its uneven months and disconnected rhythm, was designed for control, not connection. It doesn't follow the moon. It doesn't listen to the earth. It ignores the breath of the cosmos and the heartbeat of your spirit. And yet, it's the one you've been told is real. But real time doesn't move in straight lines. It moves in cycles, waves, spirals. Everything in nature follows this rhythm. Day and night, moonrise and moonset, the growth of a tree, the beating of your heart. And when your life doesn't align with that rhythm, things begin to feel off. You feel tired, disconnected, lost, but you don't know why. You think it's your fault. You blame your effort, your willpower, your discipline. But maybe it's none of those things. Maybe it's the time you've been forced to live in. You weren't meant to live by a system that never lets you truly rest, that only offers tiny breaks between endless demands, that traps you in cycles of pressure without pause, that tells you when you can begin again and when you're allowed to breathe. That's not sacred. That's not divine. That's machinery. But you're not a machine. You're a soul. Thoth said artificial time is the great spell of humanity. It makes us forget how to feel. It disconnects us from the rhythm of the stars, the earth, and our own hearts. When we follow it without question, we slowly stop hearing the voice of our soul. And when we stop hearing our soul, we become easy to control, not because we're weak, but because we're disconnected. That's why this moment matters, not because of a number on the calendar, but because of the invitation it carries. To pause, to listen, to choose differently. This choice isn't about logic. It isn't about goals or plans. It's a deep, quiet decision made not with your mind, but with your energy. It's a realignment, a sacred yes to something more honest, more alive, more aligned with your truth. This isn't about being lazy or doing nothing. This is about stopping long enough to feel your own breath, your own heartbeat, your own longing. Because only when you stop can you hear the sound beneath the noise, the rhythm beneath the routine, the whisper of your own becoming. You don't need to wait for another new year to start fresh. You don't need a holiday to heal. You don't need a calendar to tell you when you can be reborn. You can enter the frequency of the day out of time right now. You can step into this field at any moment you choose. All it takes is presence, awareness, the courage to be still, the willingness to feel what's really there. Because time, in its truest form, isn't measured by seconds. It's measured by states of being. And in this very moment, you can shift. You can realign. You can let go of the old and welcome the new. Not in theory, but in vibration. And when you do, you're not just resetting your day, you're resetting your entire reality. This isn't about rushing. It's not about solving anything. It's not even about changing everything overnight. It's about honoring the pause, trusting the breath, listening to the silence that's been trying to speak to you. The day out of time is still alive. The doorway is still open. And if your heart is beating a little differently right now, it means your soul has already stepped in. So take a breath. Let go of the pressure. The world can wait. This is your moment. You are not late. You are right on time. Real time. Sacred time. The time of remembering. You're not here to count the days. You're here to shape them with your presence. There is something deeper moving through your life, something ancient and intelligent, and it doesn't follow the rules of the clock. Most people don't notice it, but once you do, everything changes because you realize you weren't born to survive time. You were born to co-create with it. You're not here just to go through the motions, to wait for weekends, holidays, or the right moment. You're here to awaken to the truth that this moment, right now, holds all the power you've been looking for. There is a sacred key hidden inside you, and it unlocks when you stop rushing toward the future and start living fully in the now. The ancients had a name for this. They called it Kairos, the time of the soul. It's not measured by minutes or dates. It's measured by awareness. It's the moment when your presence aligns with divine rhythm. In Kairos, creation doesn't come from force, planning, or stress. It comes from stillness. It comes from choosing to be so deeply present that time stops controlling you and starts flowing through you. You stop trying to make things happen and instead become the space where things naturally begin to unfold. You stop reacting, stop striving, stop reaching for something outside yourself. You become a magnet. You become the cause. You step out of the mental world of when and enter the spiritual field of now. That's why anything not born from the present moment is not free. It's shaped by fear, pressure, or programming. And most of what people call life is just them repeating what they've been taught to do, sleepwalking through time. But the ones who wake up, those who truly see, realize that the only moment with creative power is the one they're standing in. The past no longer has a grip. The future is no longer a chase. The vibration of now is where all things are born. That's what days like July 25th have always pointed to. Not a date to worship, but a doorway to remember. A symbolic crack in the artificial flow of time. A moment to step back, breathe, and realign. In many ancient systems, this day was seen as a day out of time, a sacred pause between the cycles. But its true power was never in the calendar. It was in the consciousness it activated. Because the truth is, any day can be your day out of time. Any breath can be the one that brings you home. The sacred isn't locked to one moment. It responds to presence. It answers alignment. It reveals itself when you step out of the routine and into your truth. So even if that symbolic day has passed, the field is still open. It was never about that one date. It was always about your decision to enter a different state. Because when your frequency shifts, the door reappears, and what looked like a forgotten opportunity becomes a living portal, reawakened by your consciousness. It doesn't matter if no one else notices. It doesn't matter if the world continues on as usual. The field of sacred time responds to stillness, not noise. It listens to your energy, not your schedule. It doesn't wait for your alarm clock. It waits for your surrender. This is what Thoth taught. That time, as we know it, is not fixed. That spiritual time is always available, but only to those who are present enough to feel it. The one who lives by the clock is always running, always late, always chasing. But the one who lives by presence understands that divine timing is not something you wait for. It's something you enter. And once you're in it, time bends. Reality shifts. You don't need to rush or force. Things come toward you because you're vibrating from a space that the universe recognizes as ready. But to enter that state, you must make space. And that means letting go, not just of schedules or distractions, but of emotional baggage, unconscious patterns, hidden fears. You cannot carry the old and expect the new to arrive. The field must be cleared. The frequencies must be reset. You have to empty what no longer serves, thoughts that limit you, beliefs that were never yours, feelings you've been holding for too long. This is the symbolic death the ancients spoke of, not a physical end, but a vibrational shift, a deep release, a sacred cleansing. And this kind of letting go doesn't erase the past. It honors it. It looks back with understanding, says thank you, and gently loosens its grip. Because if you keep holding on, you keep recreating the same old fears, the same old mistakes, the same old patterns that feel like destiny, but are really just memory on repeat. Most of it is hidden in the background, in sentences you say without thinking. I can't. I always mess it up. This isn't for me. I tried before and failed. These phrases are not just words. They're codes, contracts, energetic agreements that keep you aligned with an outdated version of yourself. But once you become aware, you get to choose again. You get to cancel the contract. You get to rewrite the frequency. But the ego will fight it because the ego loves the known, even if the known is painful. The ego fears the unknown. It fears silence because silence is where the ego loses control. And it's in that very silence that your soul finally begins to speak. This is the sacred discomfort that leads to rebirth. It's not easy to let go. It's not easy to sit in the in-between. But it's necessary. Because only when you're empty can the new enter. Only when you stop clinging can the light descend. The field cannot carry what you refuse to release. You are not being asked to destroy who you've been. You are being asked to release what no longer resonates. Not out of hatred or shame, but out of love. Because something higher is trying to land. And it needs room. This is where Sirius enters. Not just a star, but a transmitter of cosmic memory. A divine frequency. For the Egyptians, it was the home of the gods. For others, the place of origin. Around the time of July 25th, Sirius rises with the sun, creating an energetic doorway, a convergence, a subtle merging of two solar forces, not just in the sky, but in your field. It's not something you can see with your eyes, but you can feel it, a light that awakens your subtle body, not your physical senses. A silent code that reminds you who you were before the world told you who to be. A message not delivered with words, but with vibration. And this light doesn't push. It doesn't force. It doesn't knock down doors. It waits for space. It looks for stillness. It seeks out resonance. It lands only where there is readiness. That's why you don't need rituals to summon it. You just need to be quiet enough to hear it, empty enough to hold it, awake enough to recognize it. It doesn't respond to pressure. It responds to presence. This is why the true initiate doesn't wait for signs. They become the sign. They don't chase sacred dates. They create sacred space. They know that time doesn't decide when they're ready. They do. And the moment they choose, the moment they align, The door opens because it never depended on the date. It always depended on the state. Your vibration is the invitation. Your stillness is the portal. And your choice is the key. So if you're wondering whether it's too late, it's not. If you're waiting for the right moment, this is it. If you think the door has closed, think again. The field never leaves. It waits. And the moment you become fully present, it returns. Because it was never out there. It was always in you. And now that you know, now that you're aware, the activation has already begun. This is your day out of time. Not because a calendar said so, but because your soul did. And when your soul speaks, creation listens. This light is not loud or forceful. It's not something that crashes in. It's quiet, ancient, and sacred. It only enters when the door is already a little open. And that door isn't a place or a time. It's your energy field, your openness, your inner readiness. That's why everything you've gone through, every heartbreak, every moment of silence, every time you felt lost, alone, shattered, or emptied out, wasn't a mistake. It was all preparing you. Every pain cracked something open. Every surrender softened you. Every breakdown carved out more space inside. All of it was helping you become more receptive, more present, more sensitive to what can only be felt when the noise fades away. That's what allows this light to enter. Because Sirius doesn't force itself into your world. It comes through stillness, through truth, through space. Now that space exists in you. Maybe not fully, maybe just in one small corner of your being, but it's enough. And part of you has been emptied enough, softened enough, purifying enough to finally let this light come in. And what's arriving isn't new. It's ancient, far older than any calendar, any scripture, any story told on this earth. And when this light touches you, it doesn't just touch your body. It touches your field. It speaks to the places your mind doesn't even know exist. It activates your pineal gland, but not just biologically. It does something far deeper. It awakens codes. It stirs memories that were frozen in time, tucked away in the corners of your soul. You might feel things you can't explain. A sudden rush of chills, an unexplained warmth in the heart, tears that don't come from sadness, but from something so deep and sacred that it has no name. That's your body remembering what your mind forgot. That's your soul speaking in the only language it knows. Vibration, sensation, silence. In that moment, something within you begins to reorganize. You feel a new rhythm, a different pulse, not something caused by music or words or people, not something triggered from the outside, but something alive inside you, something very old, very deep, beginning to rise, a code that's been sleeping, a frequency that can only be activated in this exact inner state, not when you're busy, not when you're performing, only when you're still enough to listen, open enough to receive, brave enough to say yes. This is what it means to enter real time, not clock time, not worldly time, but the time of the soul, the eternal now. And it begins not with a sign or a miracle or a cosmic event. It begins with a choice, a very quiet but powerful choice, a decision to stop waiting, to stop looking for permission, to stop living according to external timelines and inherited beliefs, and to begin living from your own inner authority. This is the most important moment in the process, because after everything you've let go of, after all the clearing, all the dissolving, now you must choose what to fill yourself with. Now you must shape what was once invisible. Now is the moment to turn presence into creation. Your field is open. Your channel is clear. Your spirit is listening. And what you choose to feel, to speak, to declare in this moment will begin to form the structure of your reality. Thoth said, "The verb is the first matter of creation." And he didn't mean that poetically. He was revealing a sacred law. When you speak from presence, when your words are infused with clarity and truth, they become commands, not weak wishes, not half-hearted affirmations, but real, energetic blueprints that your field obeys. But words only work when they are alive, when they carry your breath, when they're backed by your spine, when they echo through your entire being. Empty phrases won't do it. But when you speak from your center, when you embody your intention, your word becomes law. That's why now you must speak, not just think, not just write. Speak out loud, with your body aligned, with your breath conscious, with your heart open. Because sound moves through space. It carries power. It echoes in your field. It creates structure in your energy. Let your voice be heard by your own soul. Declare your shift. Seal your new timeline. Say, "Today I step out of time. Today I activate my true reality. Today I am pure presence." These aren't just nice phrases. Each sentence is a spiritual code, a vibrational seal, a password that tells the universe you've made a decision, that something inside you has changed, that your field is no longer running on the same frequency it once did. And you're not begging for change. You're not asking for something to happen. You're claiming who you already are. You're declaring your alignment. You're reintroducing yourself to the universe, not as a seeker, but as a creator. You're no longer waiting for signs. You're becoming the sign. When you say, "Today I step out of time," you're breaking the cycle of endless waiting. You're letting go of the belief that something outside you must happen before you can feel free. You're no longer checking the stars, the dates, the moon phases. You're no longer postponing your power. You're stepping out of the illusion of delayed destiny. And you're saying, "Time now flows from within me." When you say, "Today I activate my true reality," you're waking up a version of yourself that already exists. One that has always been there, but one that was hidden beneath fear, survival, doubt, and old programming. You're choosing the timeline where your vibration is in control, not your fear, not your pain, not your past. You're stepping into the life that matches your real self, the one you were always meant to live. And when you say, "Today I am pure presence," something anchors in. You come fully into the now. You return to the only moment that's ever real. Because as long as you're stuck in the past or lost in the future, you're disconnected from creation. But when you land in the now, fully, deeply, completely, you become the vessel through which divine energy moves. You become the temple of manifestation. These words are seeds, but seeds alone aren't enough. They need soil, and the soil is your choice, your commitment, The moment you say yes and decide to live this truth, not just say it once, but embody it day after day, that choice activates the cycle. That choice seals the energy. That choice turns the experience into something real, grounded, and alive. This is the essence of what Thoth taught. He never told people to wait for alignments. He didn't teach them to depend on portals or prophecies. He revealed that the most powerful moment isn't on a calendar. It's not based on astrology. It's not about external conditions. It's based on one thing: your inner choice. The decision to stop running from your own presence. The willingness to be here, now, fully. Real time doesn't begin with a sign. It begins with a vibration. A decision so quiet that only your soul hears it, but so powerful that it changes everything. A decision that says, I will no longer wait. I will no longer live by someone else's rhythm. I will no longer hand over my power to dates, trends, or tradition. From this moment on, I create my own time. I follow the frequency of my soul. I step into the rhythm of spirit. Because this point outside of time, it's not a holiday. It's not a magical date to write on your calendar. It's a shift, a doorway, a state of being. And when you step through it, everything realigns. Time is no longer something that controls you. It becomes something that responds to you. You are no longer pushed by the world. You are guided by your own pulse. You've stepped into the time of the spirit, where now becomes eternity. And here's the truth. Whether you realized it or not, you've already crossed the line. You've already stepped through the doorway. Something has changed. An old chapter has ended. A new vibration has begun. A new frequency has been born. And you don't need to ask for permission. You don't need a sacred date or a cosmic sign. Because now, you are the sacred sign. You are the moment. You are the time. You are the field. You are the key. And if you've made it this far, it's because something inside you knows this is real. You felt it in your bones, heard it in your silence, recognized it in your stillness. So declare it, say it, write it, speak it out loud, comment it, let it anchor into your field. I entered real time. That simple sentence isn't just a caption. It's a confirmation. It locks your decision into your energy. It tells the universe, I am here. I am ready. I have remembered. And if this message touched you, and you want to help share this light with more people, there's a link in the pinned comment where you can contribute. Your support helps this vibration reach farther. Thank you for being here. And before you go, don't forget, there's a next step already waiting for you. A continuation. A door that opens right from here. Just click the screen. The journey isn't over. It's only just beginning.